Salut, I am the Rastawitch. Here's where we learn the way of the Yansway Rasta, which is to say, my kind of ital. Please subscribe and begin your own kind of Yansway witchcraft. All roads lead to Rome. Home. Oh. Sorry, I didn't see you there. Okay. Okay, hopefully you've already watched my video called Introducing the Qabalah, Who is Yahweh, and what is a correspondence in the Qabalah. And this really quick, I'm just gonna kind of just go over this book a little bit, because from here on out, after this video, I'm just gonna go over, what I might refer to this or show. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do, but it's more about how it turned out for me. Like I've said many times, it's the Kabbalah isn't like organized religion where they're like, oh, thou shalt, you will, this is the way it is. The Lord, this man in the sky says this is the way it is. It's not how the Kabbalah is. The Kabbalah is, it's more like it's saying, we have a side of us that does thinking and can even overthink, and we have a side of us that does emotions. It can even be too emotional, Thinking is chad, number 8, and emotions is netzach, number 7, And it's the lower polarity of the Sephiroth, and if you're healthy, you have a balance. You're not all on one side or the other, So it's more like that. So then you're like, oh, well, so what is your correspondences for Chad, Well, the number 8, the numbers are about, the numbers are the same. Why would you put the numbers in a different order, I suppose you could, but that would be really weird. I don't even know. I never even thought of that before. So like the numbers, so number 8 would represent thinking. Number 7 would represent feeling. Number 9 would represent the astral realm, Number 10 would represent, there's 10 planets. We have 10, and the Sefer Yetzirah brings out the point. 10 planets are called. We proved Pluto isn't actually a planet. That's just, when we learn more about things, that just means we know more about things. The 10th one isn't technically a planet, but there's still 10. And you have 10 fingers. And, those parts of it are the same. But then after that, the colors, if you're going to correspond an animal, because animals mean something to you, or an incense, or whatever, but the numbers represent the subject. 8 is thinking, 7 is feeling, 6 is the self, 5 is the point of severity, because that's the middle point, and that's strength, because it's the masculine side of the upper polarity, and then number 4 is kesed, that's mercy, and so so it's just that. You don't have to believe in God. You don't have to believe in anything, but to have a working Kabbalah, I guess the first step is just to understand why the numbers mean what they mean. Why are there 3 supernulls above the abyss? Why is there an abyss? Why is there an upper polarity? And why is there the self? I think that's probably the easiest one to figure out. Number 6 and number 10 are, but to me, it seemed like that would you don't need to do much thinking to know why. And the sun corresponds to number 6, because that's the center of the solar system. That's so easy. And 10 is Earth, because that's manifest form, and the manifest form we live in is Earth, the physical world. But it's really all that, just as easy as that. Someone once said, you can tell when someone really understands something because they can speak about it in simple terms, So that's kind of what you're doing. When you read the books, it's going to have big words and it's going to be all complicated. You might have to reread a paragraph more than once. But once you understand it, it's as simple as anything, You know, that's why sometimes I'm like, oh, I mean, this means that. You know, I get them mixed up a little bit because I'm just speaking so casually about it. You know, it's just it's second nature to me at this point. You know, but before you do like a spell or you do any type of magical working, you need to make sure you know what you're doing. You know, I mean, at the same time, it's not a joke. You know, it does matter how you do things. But right now, we're just talking about what the Kabbalah is, what the Sephiroth is, the Tree of Life, um, and what the numbers mean, and what that type of thing. You know, so those basic things, they mean what they mean, and you don't really change those. But the correspondences. So in the back of this book, you know, so look, so like here's the book that teaches you about it, like the way this book is like it goes like here. Here's the look. It's chapter 6 is Netzach, the center of feelings. I just talked about that. You know, it's chapter 6, but it's number 7. Really, see how it's got blacked in which Sephra it is. See, and then the other side of it that's not blacked in is Chod. So then this is a whole chapter about Netzach and about feeling. You know, and you know, and that, so that's how it goes. So you've gone through the whole book, and it's talked about each Sephra, each pathway, and gone over all that. Then at the very end, it's not even one of the chapters; it's appendix. Appendix 4 is the correspondence tables, which is one of the things that makes this book so valuable. Besides that, it charts it out. You know, like some of the books I've read about the Kabbalah, it's almost more like a poem that you're reading, and it's like flowing you. It's like it's expecting you to know the language, to have a working Kabbalah, and it flows through the information. I read one book. It was just a rabbi. It was a full-size book. It was really interesting, but it was just a rabbi just talking and talking and talking using the Kabbalah language. You know, the language. You know, language it is a language. That's absolutely what it is. So if you look at this, see right here it says number 1 Keter. You know, number 2 is Kokma. Number 3 is Binah, and so that right to number 10 is Malkut, and we've gone over that. Those are the Sephra. Number 11 is Dot. Right? No, not the way he has this charted out. So I haven't really talked about Dot. I'll have to do a whole video on just that. There's 10 Sephra, but really there's 11 Sephra, and I think I heard someone say once that some people believe there's 12 or 13 of them or something, but it just, that's not how we do it in the Yon's way. We just kind of keep it simple. Keeping it simple, you'll notice as I go over witchcraft and my craft and my style of magic, and that's also everything about it's a personalized thing. Keeping it simple is what I'm all about. You know, it's about passion with me. You know, you find your symbol or your link, your magical link, your thing that represents, that corresponds to something, that represents something, and it means that, and you're passionate about that. It means that, you know, and then you don't need a lot more than just that. You know, you do, like, you've seen my candles. I have a lot of stuff on. Well, you see how complicated I do. When it comes to candle magic, I get pretty dang complicated. But so here on number 11, it's just doing the pathways. See, according to the Hebrew characters, it's saying number 11 joins number 1, Sephra number 1 and number 2. And that's Aleph, has the Aleph character there. Then it says Aleph, how you pronounce it phonically in English. And Aleph is an ox. That's what it's a picture of. And, you know, so here it's just kind of breaking it down, you know. And so number 11 Dot is like it's the shadow side of all the Sephra. Okay. You're like, I thought you said 9 is the shadow side. 9 is the astral realm, you know. I'll definitely have to go over that. Wow, I'd have to be crazy to start talking about that because there's just too much to say to include it in this video. So here, right here on this next chart, this is body parts. See, these are body parts. So now it uses that same system. Keter is one, and it means crown, right? And then over here, it's the consciousness. Number one is the consciousness. That's what part of your physical body it is. Number two, kokma, left side of the head and the left side of your brain. Number three, bina, the right side of your head and the right side of your brain. And here it puts dot. Look, it put dot in between number 3 and number 4. Interesting. It just calls it number D. Has D for dot, which is the throat and thyroid. Number 4, kesed, the left shoulder and the left adrenal gland. Number 5, jabura, the right shoulder and the right adrenal gland. You see what I mean? So there it's doing the body parts that correspond to each thing. And that can be significant if you're big into healing, because you can meditate and you can use that correspondence to discover a problem, or like, hey, my knee was kind of hurting right there, my right knee, what corresponds to my right knee. You go to this thing and you go, where's the right knee? And I don't want to take up too much time. You get the idea. You can do it the other way around too. You can say, how do I heal my right knee, and look at the correspondences to heal it, or to discover it, or to heal it. Here's physical disorders, like kidney disorders, optical defects, ear disorders, hearing, balance, stroke, coronary, inner growth. So with all witchcraft, the style of a witch, like any book you read about witchcraft, none of them say that this is so real that it replaces doctors. Every book I've ever read, it always says you go to the doctor, you use the surgeries and the medicine, and if you all know, Rastas don't believe in using medicines and surgeries. See my video about in the early Rastafarian history. I have 2 of them about Bob Marley. I can't remember which one. There's a part A and a part B, Pinnacle to Bob, part A, Pinnacle to Bob, part B. And one of those I talk about that, how it's one of the messages of Bob Marley's life. He's one of the greatest prophets in the Yan Sway. But anyway, it's something extra to do. I should do a whole video just on this one book called Tarot of the Healing Heart by a nurse. And I have more of her books too. She's a favorite author of mine. And she's a nurse, and on top of all the other stuff the doctor does and she does as a nurse, if the patient wants, she'll use her tarot cards to kind of get a little bit more depth, because it's a tool you can talk to the subconscious. The subconscious sometimes has more information if you're trying to heal. So this one has the planets. Keter is Pluto, Kokma, Neptune, Bina, Saturn. Sorry, I just ate. Here's legendary beings. This is one of my favorite ones. Keter has legendary beings and animals. Keter, the swan, is the traditional animal correspondence for Keter. That's number 1. The legendary being is the dryad. Kokma, the owl. Legendary being, the lemur. Bina, the well. Legendary being, the siren. A kesed is a dolphin, or a sphinx is the legendary one. Jabura is the horse, or the legendary being is a dwarf. There's gnomes, vampires, elves, fauns, harpy, ghost, banshee, incubus, nymph, satyr. Has how all the legendary beings correspond to each number. Isn't that exciting? The Qabalah is so cool. Besides that, it's not cramming it down your throat saying you have to do it this way, which is a lie. Rather, it's exposing all the people that have forced everything. It makes you realize that there was no need for all the violence and force. The whole thing's just been something you personalize anyway. Why does the king get to decide, or the priest get to decide what everything means for everyone else? You know, it's an out-of-date concept. So anyway, so you can see, so that's what I wanted to do, just kind of go over this book a little bit more. Love it. One of the books I love the most with all my heart. It's the thing. Thank you, Will Parfit. Thank you so very much. He goes around, he explains in the introduction, and he teaches people this stuff too, and that gives I don't know what the right word is, speeches or something, and that would be cool. I'd like to see him. Anyway, so in my next video, I'll go over more information about how I've corresponded. What are the Yan Sui correspondences? Anyway, your own kind of vital. As a Yan Sui, what are my Yan Sui correspondences? Because it'd be different for everybody. All roads lead to Rome, home.